If everyone would please join me in a warm round of applause and a welcome for Mr. Gordon Welty, who is a board member of the U.S. Campaign for Burma.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to start by first recognizing the many respectable people in the audience. Although Culver City Mayor Jeff Cooper had left, I appreciate him for having lended his voice to such an important convention. Also, Dr. Meng Zarni, your pioneering work building the grassroots movement is an important part of today's activist network in the United States. And Dr. Nora Rowley, your reputation precedes you as a former board member from U.S. Campaign for Burma. It's a pleasure to see you here. Beyond that, I also want to recognize the work and efforts to shed light on the situation in Burma by Matthew Smith, whose writings I'm familiar with, Nauma Habib, Dr. Udin, Tei Luen U, Nei San U, and Usef Iqbal. Lastly, I'd like to offer my congratulations to Mo Cha, Brian Lay, and all of the other organizers of today's wonderful convention. So I wanted to start actually by just noting how moved I was when we did the national anthem, and particularly the Burmese national anthem. The national anthem was created, I believe it was 1930 by Sayakin, and he was imprisoned as a result by the British because of the implications for Burmese unity. And given the incredible divisions occurring in Burma today, it just meant so much for me to listen to that and partake in sharing that experience with all of you. Ethnic and religious conflict has emerged as a serious issue since the country of Burma began taking steps towards democratic reform. With the liberalization of oppressive laws, decades of pent-up frustration are finding an outlet through fringe extremist groups that are using the rallying cry of ethnic nationalism to demonize the Rohingya and Muslim population. Experts fear that conflicts will increase as democracy continues to develop. But why should democracy, which is based on the principles of equality, encourage the discrimination of others? What is required to overcome this discrimination and unite the country? If Burma is to survive these tremendous upheavals, a new course must be charted that can transcend the shortcomings of racial and ethnic identity. Beginning in 2010, the military regime's steps towards cultural, political, and economic liberalization included the suspension and removal of suppressive laws, which for 50 years have been used to control the thoughts and behavior of the people. Freedom of speech and the freedom to gather in groups have been granted to generations of people who have lived with a limited sense of control over their destinies. Adding to the changing landscape of Burmese life is the influx of billions of dollars in foreign investment and foreign attention to the once largely isolated country. Land grabs by the government to support business ventures add to the uncertainty over how to navigate Burma's rapidly changing environment. Life in Burma has suddenly become very complex, and there is no certainty over what to expect in the future. At the same time, benefits for the people of Burma are not keeping pace with the changes. Only 20% of young people will graduate from high school. 15% of all children do not attend school. The education system is in dire need of reform. Vocational schools must be established, and a significant increase in jobs must be created to provide hope and a sense of security for the future. These opportunities being non-existent, some extremist groups have found ethnic nationalism directed toward the Rohingya and Muslim communities as an outlet for their fears and anxieties. The crisis began with the rape and killing of a young woman, allegedly by 3 Muslim men, on May 28, 2012, in Rakhine State. In retaliation, on June 3rd, a mob of 300 people attacked a passenger bus in Taungok Township and brutally killed 10 Muslims. Violence escalated back and forth, and on June 10th, President Thein Sein declared a state of emergency and placed Rakhine State under martial law. Of course, military intervention failed to stop the violence. Conflict spread throughout the country, from Sichuan and Chakpu in the west to Meiktila in central Burma, and recently in Lashio near China. Hundreds have been killed. Thousands of homes have been burned down. Mosques and Buddhist temples alike have been destroyed. This conflict has spread beyond Burma's borders. In Bangladesh and just recently in Malaysia, violence continues between radical Burmese Buddhists and Muslims. The government of Burma plays a critical role in ending the conflict. Yet, as recent events have demonstrated, Thein Sein's national stance has served to support political interests at the expense of the Muslim population. When he declared his state of emergency, he committed to protecting all ethnic groups from harm, save the Rohingya. The police stood by and failed to intervene as shops, homes, and mosques are looted and burned, said one victim of the attacks. Thein Sein's stance proved to be a political windfall, and the Burman majority, which comprises 68% of Burma's population of 55 million, rallied behind his leadership. Notably, the anti-Muslim mobs appear not to be random groups, but well organized. Sources believe the military regime's political wing, the Union Solidarity and Development Association, are manipulating anti-Muslim sentiment to their advantage. 88 generation leader Min Konayan noted in Meiktila that mobs appear to be professional terrorists who are clearly well organized. Hours after his call for the mob to end the violence, he was slandered on the internet, with one image of Min Konayan dressed as a member of Al-Qaeda to demonstrate his supposed betrayal of Burmese nationalism. Such extremist violence must be stopped. The anger and intolerance gaining media coverage in today's Burma is in stark contrast to the compassion and concern felt throughout the country when violence first erupted. For a brief period after the brutal killing of 10 Muslim travelers in Taungok Township, the hearts of the people nationwide were open. But as retaliatory attacks continued to increase, these sympathetic feelings quickly gave way to the dominant view of ethnic nationalism. The seeds of this genuine concern transcend the limited sense of identity created by focusing solely on ethnic, national, and religious differences. It comes from tapping into our shared humanity. My mentor, Daisaku Ikeda, once stated, "As each group seeks their separate roots and origins, society fractures along 1,000 fissure lines." We need to awaken to a common consciousness of being all inhabitants of Earth. This consciousness is not to be found in some distant place. It will not be found on a computer screen. It lies in our hearts, in our ability to share the pain of our fellow human beings. It is the spirit that says, as long as you are suffering, whoever you are and whatever your suffering may be, I suffer also. The ability to relate to the sufferings of others is a sign of spiritual wealth. The capacity for compassion was one of the greatest strengths of the Prophet Muhammad. In one sense, it was his passionate desire to help all people overcome their suffering that enabled him to establish Islam in Medina, then Mecca, and eventually throughout the world. In one story, he even went so far as to console a young boy whose pet bird had died. Such was the greatness of that man that attracted people to him. It is in the spirit of compassion and understanding, even for our adversaries, that I am convinced we must exercise in our lives if we are committed to establishing a peaceful and united Burma. Are people suffering on the other side? What is the source of the extremists' deep-seated fear and hatred? How do we help others overcome the ignorance that makes them a slave to their base emotions? Do I truly understand the nature of the problem? These are all questions I constantly ask myself. At the same time, we must take action. Violence only creates further violence and worse, robs people of their dignity and hope for the future, which encourages extremism. The first step, I believe, is to remove and replace the discriminatory 1982 citizenship law. The Rohingya, which for generations have lived in Rakhine State, must have a right to be regarded as equal citizens under the law. Secondly, Thein Sein's government must commit to unambiguously ending the mob violence perpetrated by anyone on Burma's streets. The police, who have often been bystanders to communal destruction, must take an active role in stopping the violence and demonstrate to the supporters of the 969 movement that discrimination will not be tolerated. On these and other issues, U.S. Campaign for Burma is taking action in Congress. Currently being debated in Washington is whether to end the import ban, which would allow Burmese goods, including its controversial gems, to be placed on the American market. Additionally, serious debate is taking place over proposed military-to-military relations between Burma and the United States. U.S. Campaign for Burma's position is to confirm fundamental reforms in Burma's human rights policy before lifting the import ban or allowing mill-to-mill relations. Please lend your voice to U.S. Campaign for Burma. Thirdly, there are over 100,000 refugees in Rakhine State. Butidang and Mangdao townships in the northwestern part of the state are two of the most poor areas in the nation. Opportunities for economic development must be created in order to lift the inhabitants of Rakhine State out of poverty. Education is a key part of this task. I'm the founder of an organization called Burma Community Builders, which builds schools in Burma. It is my dream to build a school in Rakhine State. I founded this organization to provide education for the people throughout the country. And if this is something you would like to contribute towards, please contact me at gw@burmacommunitybuilders.org. Thank you so much.